Okay, so we're going to start sowing the seeds. We've got the compost in the tray, all sieved like this. Now, if you pat it like this, do it on a table. I have to do it on my knees so I can video it properly. Then it just makes sure that the soil is, you know, all smoothed down properly. The other thing that we're going to do, just to make sure, is get the bottom of another seed tray and just press it down, right? It just smooths it all over and make sure that it's even all over. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually water this soil a little bit, and then B, can you just pass me the watering can? I'm going to water this a little bit so that the soil, I'm just going to put it on the floor and do that, so that the soil is damp before I start, a little bit, because I don't want to water it from above. Because it'll just blow all the seeds away, because as you'll notice when you start opening these packets, they're tiny, 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 which we don't want to wash them away. So for these seeds, what we're going to be looking at now, all of these, if you've got any of these, you can do them the same way. So we have got sweet, don't worry if you haven't got all of these, but just listen for the ones that you do have. And if you want any of the others, I might still have them in the store, so just let me know. Sweet William, we have Neon, Hollandia and New Market Early Messenger. So if you've got any of those, follow this instructions. If you've got Papaver, Hesperis, which is the Sweet Rocket, or Honesty, again, all of these we're just going to do the same way. And then some of the others have, if you have Dianthus, white or lavender as well, or Wallflower. So all of those we can sow this way. So you might need to just rewind the video and just tick off the ones that I just said that you have in your packets in front of you. So there are some that we do slightly differently, and I will go through and tell you about those in the next video. So we're going to start with those. So literally all I'm going to do is actually I'm going to start with the New Market ones. Now I'm just going to demonstrate here with the Sweet William. So you can look up on the website under each of the packets. If you go into the search bar on the website and search it up, that's what my kids say, search it up, you will see that there are the heights and the distance you have to space these plants out when they grow a little bit bigger. So you'll see things like the New Market Sweet William it only grows 45 centimeters tall, so it doesn't grow into huge, great big flowers. Now that's fine for us because we're mainly doing posies and jam jars, right? So it doesn't matter if it's not too tall, but they will give you they'll be the first to bloom, those ones. And then you'll find that the Neon and the Hollandia grow to like 60 centimeters tall, so a bit bigger, and that's kind of great for our cut flowers as well. That's the good thing about being a new beginner flower grower, is that as we make mistakes, as we learn each year, and our flowers get healthier, the stems get longer and longer and longer as we get better and better at growing them. But it doesn't matter too much if we only get little short plants, because we're only putting them in jam jars anyway. So you want to get these tiny little seeds out, and you can either just pick them out carefully with your hands. You can wet the end of a pencil if you want to pick them up that way. See, once you put them into the soil, they're just going to vanish into the colour of the soil, so you won't be able to see them. Now I am going to sow mine quite carefully. Actually, I can't even see the line that I was putting them on now. So I'm going to make a little line down the soil so I know where it is, just with the end of my pencil there. If you can see that, just so I can know where I'm sowing, because the seeds and the soil are all the same colour. So I'm just going to sow them, and what I normally do is sprinkle liberally, right, with the seeds that I have. But actually, this one's being a pain, so I'm just going to pick it up. Actually, I want to be a little bit more careful, because it's a waste of seeds. We can try using these seeds again next year. You always want to be using your seeds that are as fresh as possible if you can, but if you keep these in a dark place, chances are you'll be able to use them again next year. So rather than like just sprinkling 400 down here, I'm just going down and, you know, I'm probably putting them about 1 centimetre apart, right? And we're going to prick them out when they get a bit bigger, and then we're going to put them into we'll put them into little pots so they grow big enough that we can put them out into the field in September. So I'm literally just going along like this. I've done 1 row of them. I'm just going to do, so for me, I'm going to do, because again, I ended up with like 5,000 cosmos last year or earlier this year, because I sowed so many of them. But I've done, so I probably did, I don't know, 20 maybe down this row. I'm going to do another 20 here. I only really want maximum of 20 each, probably 10 each actually, when we actually get down to the space I'm going to have in the field. But I don't mind growing a few extras, because I'll give them away to friends and neighbours and that kind of thing, and get them involved in the floral project without them even realising. So I don't mind if I get a few extra, because I know, because I'm a new grower, that the slugs will get loads of them because I won't realise what I have to do with them, that I'll probably drop loads of them, that I will overwater, underwater. So my failure rate's going to be quite high in this first year. Like, I do my best, but every time I learn, I've learned so much even since I was sowing last time. So I'm going to sow more than I need, basically. So I don't want to count on every one of these babies germinating, and I don't want to count on every one of them surviving right up until the flowering, right? So I ended up with my cosmos, I sowed loads, I ended up giving loads away, then I dropped loads, so I had to sow loads more, and it was back and forth, and that's okay, that's just the way it goes. Anyway, so I've sowed that little handful there, and all I'm going to do, and what I will do is actually I'll sow the whole tray, right? So this one is the Newmarket Messenger. I'm going to do the Amazon and the Neon next to it, so I've got all my Sweet Williams in one area. I'm going to stick my label in a minute, but what I'm going to do is I've planted these need a little covering of soil. So there are some, which I put in the other videos, which prefer to be sown in the light or with vermiculite. That's your stocks. So I'm going to do that differently so you can see me doing that. But with these, I mean, I would sow that. What I would do is I'm going to sow the whole seed, sow the whole tray, and then I'm going to sprinkle over. So I'm just going to do it on this one line here. I'm going to sprinkle over very finely, trying not to knock any of them, another little layer of compost. Once that's all done across every single row, I'll get the bottom of the tray and I'll press it down gently again, because what you want to make sure is that the seed comes into contact with the soil. You don't want it sitting in a little air pocket. You make sure that it has contact with the soil so that it has the best possible chance of germinating. So I'm going to go down all of the ones that I listed at the beginning, and I'll write them under this video as well. I'm just going to do the same way. I'm going to pop a clear lid on this because I have a propagator lid, like a plastic lid that goes over the top. If you don't have that, you can pop them in a clear plastic bag. If you don't even have that, you can actually just put a sheet of newspaper on, because what these things need is warmth right now. The minute they start germinating, the minute the first one pops up anywhere on this tray, you need to, if you've got a dark covering on, you want to take that off. And the minute you've got a few of them starting to germinate and you've got a plastic lid on, you want to take that off. And if you notice that the plastic is getting really full of humidity and water and steam, you want to like kick it over a little bit just to let some air in there, because otherwise your plants will all suffer from they could suffer from botrytis or damp and just start breaking off. It's not good for them. So I'm going to put these, you can put these inside in your kitchen if you want to. I do love the thrill of actually seeing the first seedling come up. For me personally, I've got a little greenhouse, that little plastic greenhouse that I'm going to put my seeds in, my trays in, because it's warm enough for them to be able to germinate outside at the moment, and this week it's going to be really hot. So you're going to have to keep an eye on these once they're all done, and you're going to have to keep them watered. I would suggest that you do that rather than watering from on the top, because these seeds are tiny, that you put ½ an inch of water in the bottom of the tray, sit them in there, set yourself a timer, and come back in like 20 minutes, half an hour, and make sure you lift them back out so the soil doesn't get too wet. But they will start to absorb the water from underneath, and the roots in the search for water will cast down where the water source is coming from. So you should get really strong plants doing it that way. So that's the sowing of these. I will do a couple of videos just to talk you through the exceptions, and yeah, you can get sowing. Can't wait till we all start sharing our pictures of our little seedlings together.